Good evening. It's Wednesday, January 29th, 2025, and welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board. Tonight is a Town Board voting meeting followed by a work session. I call this meeting to order and ask everyone please rise, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we remain standing for all those men and women overseas in the military that are keeping us safe, and for our first responders. Thank you. If our town clerk, Alice Daly, would please do a roll call attendance.
Councilman Lugo. Councilman Kearns.
Present.
Councilwoman McDonough. Councilman Lombardi.
Here.
Supervisor Cazzari.
Here. Can I get a motion to accept the town board minutes from January 8th, 2025?
So second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our first resolution is acknowledging the Town of Carmel Police Department as primary police agency. Councilman Lombardi, you want to read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges and declares the Town of Carmel Police Department to be the primary police agency within the boundaries and confines of the town of Carmel, and be it further resolved that Chief of Police Anthony R. Hoffman is hereby authorized to transmit and or file a certified copy of this resolution with Putnam County Bureau of Emergency Services and or Putnam County 911 Advisory Committee. I offer this resolution as read.
I'll second it.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The second resolution is authorizing Chief of Police to proceed with the purchase of police vehicles. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes Chief of Police Anthony Hoffman to proceed with the purchase of two new 2025 Dodge Durango SUVs, police vehicles at a cost not to exceed $129,622.94 from Ultitac Equipment and Upfitting, Ridgeway, PA, pursuant to General Municipal Law 103, Sub 16, and be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to purchase said vehicles from the respective vendors set forth herein in acceptance with their bid contract quotes dated December 26, 2024, and be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect the aforesaid purchase transaction authorized herein. I would just cross out Ford and write in, just leave it blank. And otherwise, I offer this as read.
Second.
And seconded by Kearns, and then a roll call, please.
Councilman Kearns.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi. Supervisor Cazzari.
Yes. The third resolution is authorizing acceptance of proposal for Town of Carmel Police Vehicle Emergency Lighting Equipment Installation. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Whereas Chief of Police Anthony Hoffman has previously solicited proposals for the cost of outfitting two Carmel police vehicles with emergency lighting and related equipment. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal of RFC Emergency Lighting and Services, LLC, Briarcliff Manor, New York, for the installation of emergency lighting and related equipment on two new 2025 Dodge Durango Patrol Police vehicles, and be it further resolved that such services be performed at an estimated total not to exceed $40,000 in accordance with the proposals dated April 9, 2024, and under Village of Briarcliff Manor Contract Number 2324-RFP-1 pursuant to New York General Municipal Law, Section 103-16, and be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to sign any and all documentation necessary to accept the proposal and authorize the actions contained herein, and be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget transfers or modifications required to fund the cost of this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi. Supervisor Cazzari.
Yes. Number 4 is authorizing award of bid for the Town of Carmel Highway Department. Councilor Kearns, could you read that one too?
Resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town Carmel Highway Superintendent Michael Stern, hereby authorizes the award of the bid for rock crushing services for 2025 to Liberty Bell Trucking, Carmel, New York, at a cost of 15 cubic yard, or $16.35 a ton, from Town of Southeast New York, bid pursuant to New York State General Municipal Law, Section 103, Paragraph 16. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
And roll call on that too, please.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Number 5 is a resolution authorizing attendance at seminar. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes Town of Carmel Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to attend the New York Water Environmental Association Conference in New York, being held February 3rd through the 5th, 2025, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel authorizes payment of reasonable and necessary expenses incurred in connection therewith upon audit. I offer this as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Kearns. Can we have a roll call on that?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Number 6 is a resolution in support of the repeal of Article 44C of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that one?
Sure. And just so the audience knows, this is a resolution that I asked for at the last meeting to repeal congestion pricing, which is clearly a money grab by the governor and the MTA and is unfair to the residents of Putnam County, and especially those of Carmel, including first responders who have no choice but to travel into the city to respond to fire and their police stations. So I'd like this resolution, once passed, to go now to our newly installed Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, our longtime friend Lee Zeldin, who was approved today as EPA Administrator, go to the White House, and go to every senator and assembly member within the Putnam County as well. Whereas on about January 5th, 2025, the provisions of Article 44C of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law entitled Central Business Tolling Program went into effect with the implementation of said article and its measures being commonly referred to as New York City congestion pricing. And whereas the foregoing article, its purpose and impact will have far-reaching financial implications and negative impacts upon the residents of the state of New York, including the residents of the Hudson Valley and the town of Carmel. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel urges all members of the New York State Legislature to introduce and pass legislation to repeal Article 44-C, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel petitions all local and county governments to introduce measures further encouraging the New York State Legislature to take actions to immediately repeal Article 44C. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
A roll call, please.
Councilman Kearns?
Absolutely.
Councilman Lombardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes.
And in addition, it should be sent to all members of the Putnam County Legislature and all town boards within Putnam County as well,
Okay.
so they can follow our lead.
You want to write that for them, too? All right, good. Number 7 is authorizing release of bond. Whereas application has been made by RPK Precision Homes, Inc. for the total release of site plan bond posted in accordance with the land subdivision and/or zoning regulations for tax map number 55.14-1-5 with respect to a site plan approval issued for the aforesaid property, and whereas said application has been reviewed by the town engineer and release of the bond has been recommended and approved by the town engineer and the Town of Carmel Planning Board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the release of the bond posted by Mahopac Bank, letter of credit number 5300001611, in the amount of $200,000. I offer this as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Kearns. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. The next resolution is authorizing the advertisement for bids. Councilman Kearns, could you please read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the various sewer districts of the town of Carmel, hereby authorizes town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to advertise for bids for sludge hauling at multiple town of Carmel wastewater treatment plants within the town of Carmel. And be it further resolved that upon finalization and completion of bid specifications, the town engineer is to furnish detailed specifications for the above to the town clerk, Alice Daly, which are to be used in conjunction with the town's general bid conditions and specifications. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Could we please have a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 9 is accepting a donation and authorizing installation of a memorial bench at Mahopac Park. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the installation and placement of a memorial bench at the Mahopac Park facility in memory of Mr. Michael DePietro, all in accordance with the memorandum and attachments submitted by Director of Recreations and Parks Nina Kalmeyer, dated January 2nd, 2025. And be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes and consents to the dedication of these improvements in the memory of Michael DePietro. And be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates for all vendors and contractors proposed to perform the improvements in connection with this authorization, in form as acceptable to Town Council, the aforesaid work may be commenced. I offer this resolution as read.
I'll second. Could we get a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 10 is, again, accepting donation and authorization for installation of memorial bench at Carmel Park. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the installation and placement of a memorial bench at Carmel Park facility in the memory of Harriet Penny, all in accordance with the memorandum and attachments submitted by Director of Recreation and Parks Nina Kalmeyer, dated January 7, 2025. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes and consents to the dedication of these improvements in the memory of Harriet Penny, and be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates for all vendors and contractors proposed to perform improvements in connection with this authorization in form acceptable to Town Council, at aforesaid work may be commenced. I offer this is read.
Second.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 11 is resolution authorizing request for proposal, Sycamore Park concession stand. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes Director of Recreation and Parks Nina Kalmeyer to solicit proposals for vendor services to be provided at the Sycamore Park concession stand for a proposed contract period of 3 years. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Please, another roll call.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 12 is a resolution requesting amendments to New York State's criminal justice reform. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
And this is a resolution that I had drafted a few years ago, and we continue to vote on this resolution and present this resolution at the beginning of each legislative session up in Albany until the flawed bail reform law, which has greatly or adversely impacted safety in our state, is overturned. Whereas sweeping reforms were enacted to New York State's criminal justice statutes during the 2019 state legislative session, and whereas several of the drafted changes in the law pertaining to discovery and bail enacted in 2020 are overly broad and vague and are having an unintended consequence at the municipal level, all of which have been evident over the course of the past 4 years. And whereas the dramatically shortened time periods for which prosecutors must disclose evidence to defendants and the broad expansion of matters which such discovery mandates apply has had significant cost, tax, and justice implications for cities and villages within police departments, local justice courts, or code and parking enforcement departments. And whereas cities, towns, and villages have not realized savings from the bail reform reduction of the burden on county jails, and whereas law-abiding citizens of the town of Carmel, county of Putnam, and the entire state of New York have been made less safe in their own communities due to these bail reform measures. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel supports the following set of amendments which are consistent with the intent of criminal justice reforms, but which will also allow more effective and affordable implementation. Number one, ensure that cities and villages are provided with additional financial and operational support to offset the costs of these mandated measures. Number two, allow 60 days for prosecutors to disclose evidence to defense for criminal charges. Number three, exclude from the accelerated discovery requirements any charges not involving a misdemeanor or felony. Four, adjust the 20-day arraignment requirement to accommodate local courts that meet on a monthly basis. Five, allow prosecutors to withhold sensitive information such as victim contact information without having to obtain a court order. And six, judges must be given the discretion to order pre-trial detention by amendment of the bail reform measures which have put citizens of the state of New York at risk. And be it further resolved that this duly adopted resolution of the Town of Carmel be forwarded to Governor Hochul, Senate Majority Leader Stuart Cousins, Assembly Speaker Hesty, Senator Harcum, and Assembly Member Matthew Slater, and the New York State Conference of Mayors, all municipalities in Putnam County, and local media outlets. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Don't apologize.
No, Harcum should. Can
Yes, I agree.
Please have a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Absolutely.
Councilman Lombardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes.
I thank you, Frank, for spearheading this. This is crazy that we're even still having this conversation.
They just keep adding more and more crazy things to up in Albany.
So the next resolution is authorizing acceptance of a proposal for professional services, Stoughton Avenue Culvert Rehabilitation. So this is over a decade. If you live anywhere over there, London Bridge Acres, Stoughton, the back end of Kirk Lake Drive, the buses, only a bus, one car can go over that little culvert. It's been a safety hazard. People fish there. It's been going on forever. We actually, the whole project is going to be $3 million. We, the town, under $400,000 is what this is going to cost, thanks to the funding that we were able to get. So it's going to correct a flaw in the roadway that's been there a long time, and it'll give our highway super the ability to actually pave that road, which needed to be done, he told me. So it's resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the acceptance of a proposal of J. Robert Fulchetti Associates, LLC of Brewster, New York, for professional engineering services required for design, permitting, bid assistance, and construction administration services required in connection with culvert rehabilitation on Stoughton Avenue under FEMA project number 734384, and be it further resolved that such proposal shall be in the form as attached hereto and made a part hereof, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor, Michael Cazzari, is hereby authorized to sign any and all documentation necessary to accept the proposal and authorize the actions contained herein, and be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget transfers or modifications required to fund the cost of this authorization. I offer this as read.
Second.
Seconded by both. And can we get a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 14 is acknowledging emergency repairs for Carmel Water and Sewer Districts. Councilman Kearns, could you read that one?
Wait, you said 13 or 14?
14.
Resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the various water and sewer districts of the Town of Carmel, hereby acknowledges the emergency performance of water and sewer district collection system, distribution system, and treatment facilities repairs as fully detailed in the memorandum of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to the Town Board dated January 9, 2025, as attached hereto and made part thereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Could we get a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Next up is authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the scheduling of a public hearing on the fire protection contracts and ambulance district contracts
It's
for the year
13,000.
2025 to be held on,
It's 13,000. Even?
For North Salem, not
Even.
13.5.
to be held on the 19th day of February 2025 at Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter, that evening as possible, on said contracts to be advertised and posted as follows. And it's 3 columns: contractor services and not to exceed. The first is Mahopac Falls Volunteer Fire Department, Fire Protection District Number 1, not to exceed $942,800. Next, Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department, Fire Protection District Number 2, $1.7 million. Next, Carmel Fire District and Carmel Fire Department, Inc., Fire Protection District Number 3, in the amount of $993,000. Carmel Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Ambulance Service, Carmel Ambulance District Number 1, $519,750. And North Salem Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Ambulance Service, Carmel Ambulance District Number 1, $13,000. And be it further resolved, the town clerk is hereby authorized to publish a notice of said public hearing in the official newspapers of the town, and to post said notices of said hearing on the bulletin board of the town of Carmel. Said notices to be published and posted a minimum of 10 days prior to public hearing. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Does a seeker need supermajority? Okay. Next up is a resolution making a negative determination under the New York State Environmental Quality Review. Whereas the town board of the town of Carmel has reviewed the short-form environmental assessment form in regard to the proposed acquisition of real property located at 178 East Lake Boulevard, 179 East Lake Boulevard, and 740 Route 6 in Mahopac from the Mahopac Central School District. And whereas the town board has reviewed the environmental assessment form and possible impacts and their magnitude on the environment in accordance with seeker regulations and given due consideration thereto, now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Part 617 of the seeker regulations, the Town of Carmel Town Board hereby designates its intention to serve as lead agency for the seeker review of this unlisted action, and in this capacity will conduct an uncooperated review. Be it further resolved that pursuant to Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, New York State Environmental Quality Review Act of the Environmental Conservation Law, the lead agency hereby determines that the proposed unlisted action will not have any significant effect on the environment, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby determines that based on the information contained in the short-form environmental assessment form and their analysis thereof, this proposed unlisted action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts under the seeker regulations, and hereby adopts a negative declaration in regard to this proposed action. I offer this as read.
Second.
Can we have a
Councilman
roll
Kearns?
call?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. And number 17 is a resolution designating officials and authorizing funding for real property acquisition. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Whereas the town board of the town of Carmel previously authorized the entry into a contract for the purchase of certain real property located at 178 East Lake Boulevard, 179 East Lake Boulevard, and 740 Route 6, Mahopac, New York, from the Mahopac Central School District. And be it resolved that Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to and designated to sign any and all documentation required for the Town of Carmel to acquire title to the subject property. And be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to issue all checks and funding due to seller in the above transaction for the remainder of the $1,211,000 purchase price, as well as any necessary and related title insurance, and recording charges incurred in connection with said transaction. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Can we have a roll call again, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. So thank you.
Thank you, Alice.
Yeah. So a motion to close the voting meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good
I
night.
think, oh,
So a motion to open up the work session.
So moved.
Second? And all in favor? So first up is our highway superintendent.
Hello, Michael.
Leave extension.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board, thank you guys very much and for your consideration tonight. Attached is the letter as well as the doctor's recommendation from employee 2558 requesting extension of comp leave from February 1st through April 30th of '25 in order to continue medical treatment for the work-related injury which occurred on March 27th of '24. He has been in contact with us the entire way and is still rehabbing and finally able to go to PT. Any questions on that one?
Spring bids?
Spring bids. For your request and consideration, I am requesting approval to put the following items out to spring bid: catch basins and sumps with tops, crushed gravel, drainage pipe, granular base, which is item 4, and tree trimming and felling.
Mike, just with regard to the item 4, since you have...
Just getting the price on it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have all of it that we crushed last
You probably
year.
have enough to...
Yeah, and
more than enough.
we tested it out last year at the end, and we're not going to even need to really top dress anything. It's perfect.
Okay,
So we shouldn't really even have to use that line.
just asking.
No, it was a smart question.
Purchase a truck?
Yes, sir. I am requesting the authorization to purchase equipment from Dutchess Chrysler Jeep per New York State OGS Contract Group 40440, award number 23166, for a 2025 Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab. See the attached for covering the contract period from 11 of 19 through 11 of 26. I have spoken to the comptroller, and the funds are in my 25 budget. The only thing with this is they have been very kind in holding it for the past week. They have to close out by Friday. I'm going to ask if we can do an emergency vote on this one.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
So make a motion that town board accept... it's there?
It's there. Anybody want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Okay.
Or if Frank wants to read it.
No, go ahead.
You have it already, you can read it. You have it right there, right? You can read it.
Resolve the Town Board of Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town of Carmel Superintendent of Highways Michael Stern, hereby authorizes the purchase of 2025 Dodge Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab pickup from Dutchess Dodge, Inc., Poughkeepsie, New York, under New York State Office of General Service Contract 40440, award number 23166, contract 68980, at a cost not to exceed $57,307.50, in accordance with the proposal dated January 24, 2025, which is attached here to, incorporated herein, and made part hereof. I offer this resolution.
Second.
So you'll do pro temp? Clerk?
And Mike, this is coming out of your 2025 budget, you
Right.
said?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
And then you guys went up and looked at a junker.
It's a great one, though. So the next one is a request to purchase the used pickup. I am requesting the authorization to purchase a used pickup as follows: a 2013 Ford F-350 4x4. It's inspected as well for a total of
It's a
$13,471.
nice truck.
The only beauty of this one is it only has 30,000 miles on it, so
It's nice.
you don't find these ones very often, so we had to kind of strike while the iron's hot, and it's a 2-door with a 8-foot bed, which is what we need.
It's my old stomping grounds, Hoosick Falls.
You can go
upstate
pick it
New
up then.
Want to go pick it up?
York. Sure.
Is that a plow attachment in the front?
It's a 2-wheel drive, so this
Is
one's not going
Cazzari
to be able
coming
to
with
have
me?
one. It shouldn't say 4x4 actually on that. This is a 2-wheel drive.
It's a 2-wheel drive, it's not 4x4?
It's a 2-wheel drive, this one.
You don't need a 4x4?
It's a shop truck, so
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't get to our parts. So what we're replacing for that, our truck has over 300,000 miles on the shop truck right now. So it's gone around a little bit.
Yeah.
Time to be put onto auction site.
Rec
Nice.
needs one of these for that green piece of junk that's falling apart.
Yeah, and we
That's a
have
nice
that
truck, too. I
that truck
like
that
that
we
truck.
can swap over to wreck.
Thank you.
You know which one I'm talking about? The dump body.
Yes.
So that's ready to go whenever you guys want.
Is it?
It is.
Then we'll have to work on that.
All right.
I'll talk to her tomorrow.
Thanks,
All right.
Mike.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Item number 5 is, and 6, and 7 and 8 are our town engineer, Richard J. Franzetti, P.E. First up, you're doing dams.
So as the board is aware, we were under a consent order to bring Lake Mahopac Dam into compliance. That work has been completed. We engaged Schnabel Engineering to do that work early on in 2022 for $64,400. They came in with a change order late last year in August for $9,500 to address some of the issues that were occurring with the contractor. Everything is all done. The work is completed. This was to get us to the end zone to submit the final paperwork to the state, and they're asking for another $1,300 as a change order too. $1,308.
So the trees are gone.
What's- Good, you,
Trees are gone.
Trees are
New
done.
gate valve has been
You-
put in.
And you've opened it and closed it a couple times now, so it works.
Well, it's been exercised, but yes, it is now completely open to keep it drained. But it was a new gate valve, and it was also doing, well, the engineering assessment was there. We lowered our classification from a C to a B, which is huge, because if we had a C classification, which is a high hazard, we'd have to do these EAs every 5 years, engineering assessments. Now that it's a Class B dam, it goes every 10 years. So we're good for another 10 years before we have to do another
Nice.
engineering assessment.
so what's the change order for $1,308?
So they provided it in their backup. They had they estimated some contract administration and some additional work. It just went over for them to help us get to that end zone, to get there on
So-
site and do some of the shop drawings that were required.
So that change order is for their administrative work?
Yes. Oh, no, in field work. They were out in the field witnessing.
That wasn't a part of their scope?
It was, but because
So how
had-
do they submit a change order if it was a part of their scope?
Because they exceeded what happened because they had issues with the contractor. That's what I wrote in the top end of in the memo. They had initial rejection of the award. They did a lot of CM work up front that wasn't part of their scope. They thought they could fit everything into what they were going to work with. It ended up being over because they needed to be there on site at the back end to help us with this. So there's a change order that came through. It's kind of summarized in the memo that I gave you.
Yeah, I see it right here.
Right, there were weekly progress meetings, there were project delays due to a wet spring, and some of it came from the contractor, so.
All right, I'll talk to you offline about that.
Okay.
Emergency repairs?
So this is being presented to the board, in emergency invoices that were submitted for payment authorization in excess of $10,000. Carmel Water 10 and 13, 92 Ellen Avenue, there was a leak repair on January 15th. The operator of Carmel Water Districts 10 and 13, B&J, alerted the engineering department of a water leak at that location. There's an invoice in the amount of $10,200 to make the repair. There are sufficient funds in the expense line, and it will be allocated accordingly to each district. In Carmel Water District 12, a booster pump purchase on January 22nd, 2025. The operator for Carmel Water District 12 alerted the engineering department that the booster pump had failed. There's only one booster pump in operation. They brought the pump in for evaluation. It was determined that it would be more cost-effective to have a new pump installed, 15K versus a repair for 10K. The pumps are critical to maintain water pressure as there's only one pump in operation. This purchase was approved as an emergency, and there's an invoice in the amount of $15,388 to purchase a new pump. I had repair in there, but it was to purchase a new pump.
Rich, just do me a favor, before we process this, the description talks about November 15, 2025, obviously, and November 17, 2025, so that's obviously a typo error in the bill.
I can't really hear you, so what happened with
So if you
that?
look at the description
Yeah.
of the bill, it references two dates, 11/15/25 and 11/17/25. Obviously, those are typos.
They were typos.
I
It was
understand.
115 and 117.
I
I'll have
understand,
them
and I,
fix it.
yeah, have them correct that, because if we get audited, I don't want that to be, I understand what the quote was for 115, but that should be corrected,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah, they have also November 17th on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the generators.
As the board is aware, we received a grant from the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services in the amount of $242,500 to purchase 5 generators: Town Hall, Carmel Sewer District 1, Whitesale, Carmel Sewer District 4, Underhill Pump Station, Carmel Water District 3, Springhouse, and Carmel Water District 10 and 13, Senior Avenue Booster Station. The grant that we received only covers the purchase of the generators and not any of the on-site preparation work and installation. We requested a proposal from JRFA to provide professional engineering services required for the development of contract plans and specifications for the installation of the generators. Future work will include the demolition and removal of the generators, fuel sources, and automatic transfer switches. The original application did not include these items as the approved funding and scope of work. As the approved funding excludes this scope of work, sorry. Board should note further that on the deadline for the project is February 1st, 2026. There are insufficient funds in the operating budgets for this expense, and future site work will be performed. Bond authorization for the design aspect of the project is required. Once completed and the project let out to bid, additional bonding will be required to fund the installation of the generators. No questions, so I'll go on to the next one, Tea Kettle Lake treatments. As the board may recall, in 2021, the engineering department solicited proposals for the maintenance for herbicide treatment of the Tea Kettle Lakes. The proposal identified that the contract would be effective for 3 years, 2022 to 2024, with the town of Carmel having the unilateral option to renew the contract for up to 2 years, or any portion therein, 25 and 26. Pond and Lake Connection was the lowest responsible proposer at that time. They have performed to satisfaction of both the Tea Kettle Lake Advisory Board and the Engineering Department, and we recommend that we exercise the option and extend for 26 and 27. Those costs were already included for 25, and for 2026 is $5,000, the total cost $10,500.
Rich, what were the increases to you exercise the options?
I don't have the other, I mean, they incrementally increased them as we went on throughout the years, but we had that in our budget,
Yeah.
so. Remember, there's 2 lakes,
Yeah.
so it was, $3,900 a lake, so $7,800, and then next year it would be $5,000 a lake at $10,500.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Last but not least is our town assessor, Scott McMillan.
Basically, what this is since 2017, when we did our town assessment project, we've been able to.
There you go.
He's whispering.
I got all excited. There we go. So, Happy New Year. As I said, since 2017, our office has been able to maintain a 100% level of assessment, for the town, for their assessments, and we think that's provided a great service to the town and just openness and awareness for people to easily figure out what is your home worth. So part of that process has been using consultants, and we've been using GAR Associates since that time. We also consult with the state, and we kind of go back and forth between the two of them to make sure that everybody's looking at the same thing, and we can come to an agreement. This is basically just asking that we be able to enter into an agreement with them. It's up to $10,000 a year for the next 3 years. It's at our option as to whether or not we're going to use them. So this doesn't lock us in for 3-year commitment to them. And it's going to be as we need their services. So it's not $10,000. It's consulting services up to $10,000. And this is already in our budget. So we're just asking for the board to go ahead and approve that so that every year we don't have to keep coming back and asking for this approval.
Yeah. Glenn always liked having that to bounce off of.
They've
Besides
been
you
they've been
guys.
very helpful, yeah. It's just a second set of eyes. That's what it is.
Okay, we're
Any
good,
questions?
thanks. Thanks. No? Okay, no takers?
Going once, going twice.
So last week, Matt Slater, our Assemblyman, 94th District, had a meeting with concerned residents about legislation regarding home rule and the state trying to jam things into our zoning that we don't want and that we're not going to accept. It was at Somers Library. It was really good. Rob Scrino, Somers Supervisor, was there. He hosted Senator Peter Harcum, and the residents were able to get answers out of our state senator about how things are going, and I thought it was quite informative. It was good. I met with the county clerk last night at a meeting, and he mentioned something I thought was really important. If you go to the Putnam County Clerk's website, right, so you go to putnamcountynewyork.gov/county-clerk, or just search Putnam County Clerk, New York. They've got a fraud alert system that you can fill out online. You probably can do it in person too. And if you have an email, what you put in is your name, your address, and your email. And if someone goes into the Putnam County and does anything with your records, as pretending to be you in a fraud, you'll get an email and you'll know right away it wasn't you. And I thought that was just a great thing.
Like your deed.
Yeah, like your deed, which is a horrible thing, and council says that was going on for a while, so happens there.
Yep.
So that's all I have.
That's it.
I want
About your freezing.
Yes. I want to thank everybody who came out last Saturday to our Operation Ice Splash. I want to thank Mahopac Fire Department, the Falls Fire Department, Carmel Police. If without them, we wouldn't have been able to host the event at all. It was a huge success. We had a lot of brave individuals jump into the water. Over 150 individuals jumped into the water. It was freezing. And it did not deter people from showing up and supporting the VFW. So I want to thank everybody. We took some notes down. We're looking on ways to improve it for next year to make the event even bigger. So again, thank you all. On top of that, next Saturday, February 8th, I am going to be hosting my Connect with Kearns in the hamlet of Carmel at Cornerstone Park. From 9 to 11. Light refreshments will be sold. So if anybody wants to swing by, served, I'm sorry. Served. Yes, not sold, served. If anyone wants to swing by, ask questions, complain, whatever you want, I'll be there. That's it. What are you laughing at?
How cold was the water, Councilman?
I did not jump.
Oh. One suggestion that I heard from a lot of people last week, that if you do it when it's warmer, you'll get better participation.
No, you're jumping next year because Councilwoman McDonough actually
did.
jumped, and
She
I'm
did.
very proud of her.
Showed you up.
I had the flu. What do you?
Excuses.
She jumped in.
She jumped
I was
in.
very proud
I
of her.
have photos.
Cazzari was supposed to come, but he still hasn't gotten a doctor's note.
He'll have a heart attack, and
It was
you
my
can't do
kid's
that.
birthday. I had to do that. I'm laughing
Susie
about the
jumped
word
in. Yep.
uncooperated.
Very
or
brave.
whatever.
Next year, Frank, Mike, and Mike Stern, they're all going to jump in.
He's on my team. We have a team already.
A team.
We have a team for the solar plunge in mid-August. We already named it.
But seriously, thank you all for coming out and supporting. It was a huge success. All the money raised goes straight to the VFW to help local veterans, not just in Mahopac and Carmel, but throughout Putnam and northern Westchester. So thank you guys all for your support.
Thank you for doing that. So we're going to go now to executive session, some personnel with the police chief, Anthony Hoffman. So can I get a motion to do that? Second? Second. And all in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.
You know, I had
Thank you for coming.